It is 27 days till the man burns, and today we're talking about first-timer nerves. One of you lovely first-timers, Westmore AFK4 cosplay, hi, commented that you were starting to feel some first-timer nerves. You were worried if you were prepared enough and what to expect and all that kind of stuff. So I thought I would do a little video to try and put people's minds at ease a bit if they are feeling those nerves, and hopefully we can just turn that all into like overwhelming excitement instead. I totally understand why some people get these like first-timer nerves, because if you are like reading over the survival guide and digging around in forums for all this all-important survival information, it can feel a little bit like, if you forget something, then, you're gonna die out there. Like, how are you supposed to make sure that you don't get dehydrated? How are you supposed to make sure you have enough electrolytes? How do you know you've got the best dust mask so that you're not gonna get player lung? So don't worry. So first thing, extremes. A lot of the advice that you see out there, they are trying to prepare you not just for like Burning Man, but for the extremes of Burning Man. So think of it like, when you get on a plane and the air people, they like do the thing like, here are the exits, and if we crash, put your mask on and stuff. They don't think the plane's gonna crash. They just want you to be prepared just in case that extreme circumstance arises. And it's kind of the same for some of the advice you'll see about Burning Man. Like if you look at anything that talks about like the temperatures, then people say, oh, it's so hot in the day and it's so cold at night. And it sounds like they're saying, you're going to be going from the Sahara to the Arctic in like 24 hours. And that's extreme. That's not the norm. Like, yes, it can reach freezing at night, and yes, it is really hot in the day. But it doesn't reach freezing every night. It's just something that is a possibility. It doesn't rain every year, but it's something that is a possibility. So, it is important and good to be prepared for the extremes. But, you might go and not experience any of those extremes. It's just kind of better to be prepared for them just in case they do happen. You probably won't die at Burning Man. Like, yes, it is a harsh environment and there are dangerous things out there. If you decide to climb up a piece of art and you fall off, then, that could be dangerous. And medical help is a bit limited there, but it does exist. But with medical care, if you do have a medical emergency, if it's like super duper mega extreme, like you need hospital attention, then you can be airlifted out of Black Rock City and taken to the hospital in Reno. You can get driven there. Like, if you do need some kind of help, if there is an emergency, then that can be dealt with. I think for some people there can be that worry of like, what if I forget something or I run out of something? What if I run out of water halfway through the week? You are surrounded by other people. People are not just going to let you die if you run out of things. Like, yes, you should be doing your best to be self-reliant and making sure you have all of the things that you need to make it through the week. If something happens, if you don't have something, if you run out of something, if you just desperately need something, then someone out there is going to help you out. People don't just leave each other to die out there. And of course, if you are in an extreme situation, it's day 2, you've run out of water somehow, you don't want to spend the rest of your time like traipsing around begging other camps for water. You can make a trip to go and get water. You can actually leave Burning Man and come back. When you leave, you can get an entry pass. I think it's like $20 and, then you can come back in. Obviously, it sucks to have to do that, but, if you are in a bind, if you just desperately need something, then that option is there. You probably have forgotten something, and that is okay. Again, you should do your best to be self-reliant, but, chances are you will still forget something, especially if you're a first-timer. Because that first time is when you kind of discover those things that you wish you'd brought with you. Sometimes see lists pop up in forums of like, what are your weird must-bring items, and people will say like, oh, this is the thing that I just cannot live without while I'm there, and it's like some really odd item. You only really discover what your must-have item is like while you're out there. And again, if you forget something and it's something really, really important that you desperately need, chances are someone around you is going to be able to help you out. Or if worst comes to worst, grab a re-entry pass, go off and get that thing that you desperately need. There are some amazing packing lists out there. I will link some in the description box below for you to check out. And they kind of cover like everything that anyone could possibly need. Like, you probably won't need every single item on there, but the lists are created for you to like pick and choose what exactly you think that you need. So, do your best, check out the lists, make a list of what you think you need based off of those lists. Make sure you have all the items that you have put on your list. And, when you get out there and discover that, you have forgotten something, ask around, see if someone has a spare. Chances are someone out there is going to have that thing that you need. If you have never camped and that is like causing some of your nerves, you're not really sure kind of how it works, how to set things up, how to just generally like exist in a camping style environment. If you have some time, practice, go camping for a weekend, see what it's all about. If you don't have time, maybe just, set up all your stuff so you know how to set it up. Cook some meals on whatever kind of cooking kit you're bringing along. Just like get familiar with it if you aren't already familiar with it. It just means you'll kind of work out any kinks before you get there. You'll know that, your tent is okay. You know how to set it up. You know how to set up the shade structure. You know how to cook. You know how to do the basic stuff that you're going to need to do so that you have somewhere to sleep and you are able to eat. With expectations, it's difficult. Everyone always says like, no expectations, do not go to Burning Man with expectations because that's what can kind of destroy your experience. It's like getting a birthday present. It's wrapped up and you think you know what that thing is and you're all excited, but you're not going to know what's inside it till you open it. And when you open it, you might be disappointed. It might not be the thing that you thought it was, or it might not be the right thing that you thought it was. And Burning Man is kind of the same. You can look at pictures online, you can read people's experiences, you can watch videos, but you're never really going to know what it's like until you go there. By the way, Mark Day has just released his 24 Hours at Burning Man for 2016. It is quite long, so grab some popcorn and get comfy, but it is a really nice kind of look at Burning Man itself. When you're daydreaming about Burning Man and what it's going to be like and all the fantastic adventures you're going to have, try and just keep in mind that it's really a mystery box. You don't know what it's going to be like until you get there. You can imagine what it's going to be like, but you are never going to know until you are there. So try and go into it with as few expectations as possible. Some people worry that they might hate it. Like, what if you get there and you're just like, wow, I've made a huge mistake. This is terrible. I hate it. I just want to leave. Firstly, if that does happen, I would suggest hanging around for a couple of days just to see if you adjust to it. Because, when you get there, you have been prepping for ages and packing and driving for hours and hours to get in there and then setting up. And it can be kind of stressful. Sometimes you just need a little bit of time to just relax and kind of take everything in. And if you do find on that first day or two that you are kind of not into it, you're thinking that you would rather leave, just wait it out a bit and see how it goes. But realistically, there's no point in worrying about whether you'll hate it or not. I assume if you have made the decision to go and you've gone through all this prep work, currently you want to go. So you're kind of unlikely to get there and decide that you completely hate it. But, obviously it is possible. You're not being put in prison. You can actually just leave that place if you don't like it. If you're camping with other people and they don't want to leave, you can pop up a notice in Centre Camp, seeing if anyone is leaving early, seeing if you can grab a ride with them. You could just kind of wander around and, ask people if anyone knows if anyone's leaving early so you can try and find a ride out of there early. Like I say, it's really not something that's worth worrying about. I always think that first timer nerves are a good thing. If you're nervous because you're like, how do I know if I'm prepared enough? Have I packed everything? What's it going to be like? What do I do when I get there? Where do I camp? All of this stuff. You're doing it right. You're nervous because you're trying to be prepared. You're trying to be self-reliant. You're trying to find out information about the event so that you kind of know what's going on and know what's happening and know what you're getting into. So really the fact that you're nervous, it means that, you are probably doing things right. You are trying to be prepared. You'll probably find that you will be some of the most prepared first-timers out there. You will probably have overpacked, you will have brought things that you will just never touch the whole time you're there, and then, you'll learn for next time. You do not need to bring all of that stuff. If you've been doing the stuff that you are supposed to do as a first-timer, reading the survival guide, checking out packing lists, finding answers to any questions that you have, or, asking those questions if you can't find answers, you're doing it right. You're trying to make sure you are as prepared as you can possibly be for Burning Man. So I really hope kind of bundled up with all those nervous jitters is a ton of excitement. Try and focus on those ones instead, just how excited you are. It is nearly time to go to Burning Man. So I hope this was helpful, guys. I hope that at least some of you feel a little bit less nervous now. And you can just kind of embrace that excitement instead. So yeah, I hope you have an amazing time. And if you see me out there, then feel free to come and say hi to me. Bye, guys.